My name is Zaria Love.
My name is Denaja Davis.
My name is Jada Johnson.
My name is Genevieve Williams Comrie.
My name is Mercy Viola.
My name is Pax Alexander.
My name is Lucretia Holcomb.
My name is Edgie Amisial.
My name is Chisa Hutchinson.
How do I love myself? You know, that is a hard question sometimes for me to kind of explore, right?
It would be a lie to say that I am able to show love to myself every single day. I think it's something that really needs a lot of patience, a lot of time, and a lot of effort.
Every morning, I try to give myself, if I have time, I try to give myself a specific time to meditate and do something special for myself.
Along with, all of the self-care practices from yoga to meditation to spiritual baths that I partake in, I've really just been able to see the direct links between what's going into my body, what's going into my vessel.
I like rituals. I have my little cup of tea here, right? So I drink a lot of tea. I like being alone a lot. I don't like feeling lonely though. There is for me a distinction between solitude and loneliness. I like solitude and I welcome it.
I practice the love languages on myself.
I have this one time in the morning where I can water my plants, feed my animals, drink a cup of tea.
I make sure that I am well rested.
I love myself with naps. I love myself with rest. I love myself with slow, quiet moments where I'm really able to check in instead of just reacting, being able to actually respond to what is actually needed in that moment for myself.
When I'm at home, there are times where I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna do my baby hairs and I'm gonna just brush my eyebrows and I'm gonna put on my rings and I'm gonna put on my necklaces and I'm just gonna do little things like that to just honor that inner divine feminine energy.
I spend so much quality time with myself. I've gotten to know myself the best I ever have in my life.
I think I love myself by taking out moments in my day to pot my plants.
Something that's really grounding for me, taking care of life.
Spending time in water. I love just taking a shower, taking a bath, drinking some water, making some tea, getting to a body of water if I can.
I have visual aids. These are racquet balls that what I like to do is I take the racquetball, and if I'm feeling stressed or tense or whatever, I like to just sort of sandwich the racquetball between whatever part it is that I want to rub and the wall. And then I do one of these numbers, which looks ridiculous, but it feels great.
I have struggled with body issues and self-perception issues, and running is something that I did when I was younger to lose weight or to feel okay in my body. And running is now something that I do to just love myself and to remind myself that this body can take me wherever I need to go. And running helps me show gratitude. It helps me relieve myself of stress and anxiety.
Definitely dancing, a lot of dancing and movement. I've been dancing a lot, just in public, and when I feel moved, just be okay, I'm gonna dance while I'm doing my laundry real quick, nobody's in here, or I'm in the park and I just feel getting some movement out.
I'm a very sensual person, and it feels really good to say out loud. Everything that I do as a way to just bring me back to my body.
Physical touch, I would say like maybe when I'm moisturizing, putting on lotion, even doing my makeup and massaging my face.
The motion of like washing my face and feeling my own skin under my fingers is something that is so intimate and so rejuvenating. And even doing it in the mirror, it's like it feels like a reminder that I exist in this body, that I am taking care of this body.
One way that I love myself is by looking at my photography. Recently I've been doing a lot of self-portraits, so that's also a way for me to just look at myself and just love myself.
I'm a firm believer in oils. I will go to CVS and get me some lavender oil because this shit is soothing. Aromatherapy. Get in it.
Words of affirmation, I'm always speaking, thinking, or writing positive things about myself.
I am also committed to joy and happiness and laughter and finding peace.
Growing up, I didn't have access to the tools that I have now. Like, that's clear, and I'm definitely so grateful for the evolution. I'm so grateful for the waters I was nurtured in. I'm so grateful for what my family could give me with what they had access to. But to be quite frank, the idea of, for example, going to therapy, or the idea of even meditating, even like practicing divination, the idea of, stepping into the spaces, that were like foreign or alien, was just, it was uncomfortable. I didn't have access to the spaces and to the tools, if you will, that I have access to today.
My earliest memory in discussing mental health issues was when I was in high school and I was going through depression. I had to talk with family, and at first that was very hard because coming from I come from a Nigerian background, and that's very not common.
I just remember watching Lifetime movies maybe, and we weren't really in those movies that much. So I always had a very negative conceptualization of mental health therapy, anything psychology related, because they always showed it being associated with straitjackets or, just extreme behaviors, and you never really saw the just maintenance or preventative purpose of therapy.
With immigrant families, there can be a lot of shame, a lot of embarrassment, and a lot of guilt when it comes to looking for, the adequate care that we need. I don't think that I was really raised to look outside of my family unit to find support for myself.
I would say I was probably like 9 or 10, and hearing people in my community say that person over there was loca. It was spoken about like they had gone off they had lost their mind, right? In a negative way. And now in retrospect, they hadn't lost their mind, whatever that means. They were probably just going through a rough moment where people weren't able to identify what was going on, and they weren't getting the support from communities and society that they needed.
At least for my family, like mental health, we don't talk about it in a way where it's sensitive or like caring. I think it's more so like, oh my gosh, like you're just like the rest of us, like why are you overreacting? Which I think plays a big part into like how I think about it now, and like why it took me a while to have an understanding about my mental health.
The first 14 years of my life, I was piss poor, and we had more pressing concerns than like our feelings or like, whether or not we were stressed. Of course we were stressed. Life is just stress, and you're just you just deal with it, you know, like you gotta find a job, you gotta pay those bills, you gotta make sure that the kids are fed. And I don't know, man, like just when I look back on it now, I'm like, damn, did my mom, you know, the woman who raised me for the first, you know, umpteen years of my life, did she struggle with mental health issues?
My mom has ADD, and my dad doesn't have any mental disorder that, you know, is prominent that I know of, but I always knew that my mom had to take medicine every day, always had to take ADHD medication. And because I'm biracial, I feel like it's interesting because my mom's white, my dad's black. So it's very interesting to see how mental health was such a conversation with my white side of the family, but was never a conversation on my black side.
I grew up with a very big family, and one member struggled with the most evident mental health issues. But I do believe that a lot of us struggled with our own internal things that maybe weren't as extreme, but were just as important. Anytime there was some type of mental health hardship or issue, my family really emphasized the importance of prayer, of looking to God for answers and for help. You know, it is good to have something to believe in, and it is good for everyone to have their faith no matter how it looks. But what is also important is the inclusion of, you know, professional resources when it comes to mental health.
You do need to be able to process, and like your family can't hold it all for you, and you do need somebody who is actually trained to do this.
There has been a lot of stigma around Black people in therapy, right? Or Black people speaking about their issues to somebody else. Which is what I hear as a reflection when I have shared that with other people. Oh no, we don't talk to other people about our issues. No. If I need to speak to somebody, I'm going to speak to God. That's what I hear a lot of people in my family and community members have told me before.
They don't want to be in a position where somebody is knowing something about them or going to judge them or going to gossip. There's a lack of trust.
I pretty much, you know, told a close friend that I needed help. And their whole ideology at that time was for me to just remain strong, keep the faith. And at that time, it helped. It helped for a little bit, but I was still struggling with mental health issues. I just had to be transparent at that time. And I was transparent and vocal about my mental health issues with my brother. And he pretty much told me to push it out to the arts, you know? Anything that I'm going through, just, you know, let it show within the art. And the art at that time was songwriting, because I used to write a lot of ballads and songs, and it was a pretty interesting journey. But at the same time, I was still going through those emotions in terms of mental health. And at times I was feeling very lonely, and music, it was a comfort, but at the same time, it wasn't the 100% help that I needed.
Within my family, therapy will absolutely be hurled as an insult of some sort, and definitely further stigmatize the process.
There's a lot of trauma that is being perpetuated that has already existed for decades, that has gone that has been swept under the rug because we have been in a constant state of survival. So we haven't been able to deal with all the issues.
My mom has always been about getting support for, like, in a holistic sense. So making sure that, like, your mental, your emotional, your physical needs, they're all part of each other. And when we are dealing with an issue, that all of those parts do need to be held.
Healthcare in this country in general is suspect, right? But particularly for Black people, and especially Black women, because we're like at that intersection, you know, that Ooh.
And I also feel that there is a class and access to information that goes along with that, being able to ask for that support, that we also need to acknowledge very clearly, because not everybody has that.
A lot of people in general are struggling with getting the resources that they need to be able to afford those, and then the free resources that have gotten a lot of funding to be able to provide to us, they are not able to keep their staff because they're overworking them, or it's a toxic work environment. So you have all these amazing therapists who are offering their skills, and then the clients are not able to have long term help, or even like the short term help with the plan, or like you get 4 sessions and then somebody leaves.
If you don't have the money to come out of pocket to pay for a top-notch, psychologist, then mental health is just it's a luxury for a lot of folks.
How have your experiences with doctors and mental health been? Personally, they've been really shitty for me. It took me about, I don't even want to say how many years. It's like, because I've been bipolar my whole life, but I didn't really know until I was 21 or so. And like, I'm 25 now, and it's just kind of like, for the past like 5 or so years of knowing I'm bipolar and trying to seek proper mental health treatment, I've had a really bad experience. I got my first Black doctor in my whole life this year for like, regular physical doctor.
I read in the New York Times about how some alarming percentage, like I don't remember the exact percentage, but it was up there, like it was over half, like over 50% of all white doctors in this country, or at least all the white doctors who were surveyed for this, they actually believe, like legit believe, that there are physical differences that make it so that Black people don't feel pain the way white people do. Like what?
I lost my prescription maybe like 5 times, and I was left many times because of poor management at doctor's office and issues with insurance and not being able to afford insurance. There were times where I would have to not have my medicine cold turkey, which is so dangerous.
I personally think the biggest barrier right now that I encounter with my clients, because I do mental health consultations, would be, in addition to wellness sessions as well, the biggest barrier for Black women isn't necessarily finding the resources, it's being able to afford the resource. And I think no matter what our economic class is, we deserve resources that we can actually be able, we can actually maintain and follow up and get the level of care that we need without breaking the bank.
I feel that right now there has been a push made, and I'm assuming that the majority of that push has been made by other Black women. I feel like the push has been made with limited to no resources. I feel like Black women are scrounging to find resources to represent mental health in a better light and more appropriate, and to open up spaces for mental health dialogues and conversations and services to other Black women. I know Afro Resistance has been trying to do that. There's a lot of organizing that has been happening about that. Is that enough though? No, it hasn't been enough. I feel like different organizations such as Afro Resistance, we are trying to figure it out as we go, and the resources are not enough. So people are listening. People need enough resources to keep the work going.
A huge thing that has supported me in my mental health journey has been love, whether it's love from platonic friendships, love from relationships, and love from family. The kinds of love that can really support you in your mental health journey is love that is non-judgmental, love that understands that you are a human with faults and with qualities. Love that isn't a two-dimensional idea of you as a human.
The kinds of love that, pretty much helped me throughout my whole journey in terms of mental health will have to be love from my family, love from my friends, and also self-love, Again, I've grown to love myself, and I'm just working on myself, We're all a work in progress, but the loving myself, the self-love is the most important one.
My family just loves me to the core, and I know that. And I've been reflecting a lot about this lately.
There is a level of care that is a commitment, and it's also flexible. It's also changing as people's capacities change, right? So it's like an ongoing process where we are figuring out how to care for the people that we love.
I want honest communication in my relationship with my partner. I want honest communication in my relationships with my coworkers. Like, I want it with everyone I come across. When we are able to just show up authentically in every space, in every relationship, it's practice.
I find that people who have experienced rough childhoods the way I bond with them pretty quickly, and we just have a shorthand, and we just like understand each other, and we know how to support one another through some stuff because we get the quirks and we get the things that make that make each other tick. So definitely kinship, the kind of love that comes from sympathy, right? Because you've been there.
There's so many people going through this, and I feel like that's something that we can find power in. We have community. That is such a strong, powerful love. Community.
As Black women, the number one thing that we can do to help each other is just to make sure we all feel seen.
If we have those resources, share those resources. If we have abundance, let's share that. If we have wisdom, let's share that. If we have tears, let's share that. If we have laughter, let's share that. And we do.
I think we have to relearn what friendships and sisterhood is. I think it's having compassion and grace, and really learning to trust each other. And really, but I feel like the first thing is learning to trust yourself.
One thing that I want to say to Black women who are trying to heal or trying to take care of themselves mentally, physically, or emotionally is take your time. Give yourself the time and the patience that you need to care for yourself. It's easy to fall into the cycle of thinking that your goal is to fix things as quickly as you can so that you can move on to the next thing. This is definitely something that I have done quite often in my life too, but mental health doesn't work like that. Self-care doesn't work like that.
Healing is the beginning, renewal is the outcome.
We are constantly giving and deserve to be acknowledged, and deserve to be held, and deserve to be relieved and unburdened of the stress of holding up the world. We don't need to save the world. We're always responsible, always congratulated for saving the world in this way or doing something great for mankind in this way. And it's like, but did you take a nap? But did you drink water? How are you? Did you check in with yourself?
There's this, as a screenwriter, I'm definitely sort of tapped into that narrative that's floating around out there about us, where it's like, oh yeah, we're inhumanly strong Black woman, all that. And it's true to an extent. We have to have some kind of strength, right, to endure a lot of the things that we endure. But you know what? It's okay to fall apart sometimes. It's human, It's all right if you're not on top of your shit all the time. You don't have to be Superwoman, right? And I think a lot of Black women feel like they have to be because we have been for so long, right? That we feel shame or guilt around falling to pieces, when really sometimes you gotta fall to pieces so you can put yourself together, you know, in a sort of new.
Black women, you are loved. You are beautiful. You are a reflection of the divine energy that flows through you. Every single thing that you touch has and will grow and blossom. And this period of darkness, this period of stillness, this period of confusion will transform and transpire into a period of lightness, into a period of radiance, into a period of rainbows and laughter and dancing. You've got this.
You got yourself and we got you. You know, we got each other in this, and I really want to honor everybody's stories and trajectories and where you're at, and you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And you might not understand that at this moment, or you might not receive that either, but the other side is so much better. The other side is lighter, and the other side is healthier, and the other side is freer. Your soul it can soar, and the strength that you might not feel that you have right now, oh my goodness, you will have. And it's not that strength that we tell ourselves we can get through everything. It's not that strength that we have been told that we can get through as Black women, like that strong Black woman strength. That's not it. It's this like at peace strength, at peace with ourselves kind of strong.